I get itchier staring at a wall of drum kit options online, and the thought of splurging on something that ends up just gathering dust is pretty unsettling. You've probably tried a cheap mesh pad set before, felt the limitations, and now you're wondering if stepping up to a flagship electronic kit is worth the investment for your home studio or bedroom practice space. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I want to do in the next few minutes is walk through the real-world experience of the Roland VAD516V drums, so you can decide whether it truly fits the way you play and the budget you've set. First off, let's talk about the kind of drummer who actually benefits from the VAD516. If you're a gig-oriented player who needs a kit that can sound convincing in a live stream or a small venue, the full-depth wood shells are a game-changer. The wood adds a natural resonance that you just don't get from the all-plastic or thin-shell kits that dominate the entry-level market. When I set the snare up in my apartment, the low-end thump was surprisingly warm, and the cymbals retained that bright, metallic sheen without sounding overly synthetic. That's the sort of nuance you need when you're layering drum tracks in a DAW and want each hit to sit comfortably with guitars and synths. On the flip side, if you're just looking for a simple practice pad or a kid's starter kit, the VAD516 probably feels like overkill. The learning curve on the V51 module is modest but present. You have to spend a few minutes navigating the large color display to load kit packs, tweak sensor sensitivity, and enable the wireless adapter for firmware updates. For a beginner who just wants to bang out a basic rock beat, those extra steps could be more frustrating than helpful. In that scenario, a more straightforward, budget-friendly pad set would give you instant gratification without the need to dive into software menus. Now, let's break down the day-to-day usability. The sensors on each pad are designed to capture nuanced dynamics, and I noticed that a gentle finger tap on the hi-hat pad produced a clean, articulate chick that blended well with a recorded groove. When I pushed the velocity to a hard strike, the sound didn't clip or become muddy, a common complaint with cheaper kits that have limited headroom. This makes the VAD516 especially useful for players who like to experiment with ghost notes, subtle brush patterns, or intricate roll techniques. The module's multi-sampled library, which was built in collaboration with professional drummers, provides a wide palette from vintage jazz brushes to modern metal blast beats, so you're not locked into a single genre. One hidden trade-off that becomes apparent after the first week is the kit's footprint. The full-depth shells mean the cymbals and toms sit lower to the floor than a traditional acoustic set, which is great for maintaining a compact rack, but it also requires a bit more careful placement of your rug or floor mat to avoid unwanted resonance from your room's floorboards. I found that adding a thin rubber mat under the bass drum pad eliminated a low-frequency rumble that was otherwise picked up by the microphone when I recorded a live stream. It's a small tweak, but it's something you'll need to consider if you have a hardwood surface. Another practical point is the connectivity suite. The built-in wireless adapter lets you stream the drum output directly to a laptop or tablet without hauling a tangle of cables, which is a blessing when you're setting up a quick live stream or moving between rooms. However, the wireless link can be a bit finicky in a house with a congested Wi-Fi environment. There were moments when latency spiked just enough to make a fast 16th note fill feel slightly off. The workaround is to switch to a wired USB connection for critical recording sessions, which the module handles seamlessly. So you get the best of both worlds, convenience when you need it, and rock-solid reliability when precision matters. What about the value proposition? The price tag places the VAD516 solidly in the premium tier, and that's where the true ROI shows up. You're not just buying a set of pads, you're getting 6 months of Roland Cloud Ultimate membership, which unlocks a rotating library of instrument expansions and kit packs. I experimented with a Studio Jazz pack that added vintage cymbal models and a brushed snare sample that sounded indistinguishable from an actual acoustic kit recorded in a professional studio. Those expansions can keep your sound fresh for months without having to purchase additional hardware. If you're a producer who spends most of his time in the box, the VAD516 can serve as a tactile front-end for your software instruments. The DW Soundworks integration means you can route the kit's trigger data straight into a VST and treat the pads like any other MIDI controller. I used it to drive a contact drum library for a hip-hop track, and the responsiveness was spot on. The pads captured the subtle bounce of my finger technique, which translated into more human-sounding beats compared to programming them by